Hi everyone. So I want to just cover the parameters of this particular essay assignment so that you're successful. I want to make sure that you know that you have to write 1,000 to 1,200 words. That includes the works cited page, that you use 1 to 2 sources, and they're provided from the handout. So this is not one of those papers where you just go on Google and start searching for all sorts of information. You absolutely must have 1 to 2 sources cited and quoted in the paper. They have to come from this handout or it will be an F. If you forget to include the works cited page, the paper will be an F because I can't validate the sources. And if you write less than 1,000 words, you will lose a letter grade for not meeting the Florida state mandate for the Gordon Rule. The purpose of this essay is to learn about post-traumatic stress disorder or people who have a physical disability as a result of war. And these are your paper topics. So let's make sure you choose one that you're interested in learning more about. The first one is about learning the 4 symptoms that classify PTSD and covering the treatment methods that are used. Or you can look at the physical disabilities from war and the treatment options. Physical disabilities include amputees, burn victims, and those with traumatic brain injury, also known as TBI. You could explore negative behaviors that develop from coping with PTSD. That could be, unfortunately, suicide, alcoholism, substance abuse, isolation, depression, those sort of behaviors. You could look at the way that civilians are psychologically affected and their treatment methods, if any exist at all. Or you can explore how a relationship is positively or negatively affected between the loved one and the veteran who has PTSD. So this could be a situation where you write a paper that is very positive, where you can look at the strengths that family members can have in the coping of PTSD for the veteran. I do give you some search terms to consider, but these are the sources that you absolutely must use. I want you to learn what the United States does for our veterans through the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. And so when you click on this website, we are basically one of the world leaders in post-traumatic stress disorder, so you might as well go to one of the main sources that people would use. And I want to remind you to use the sitemap to navigate and find the best pages for post-traumatic stress disorder, which is right here. And once you use the sitemap, it kind of brings you to a different menu where you can look at some PTSD basics, things for the public, treatment and coping. There's a lot of information here about family members and connections. So I want you to look at that. Even negative behaviors is here. So everything you would need for this paper is already on this website. Don't discredit also the videos here that can give you a lot of insight into the personal experiences of our fellow veterans. Another website that's really great is also through the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. This one's called Make the Connection, and they give you a lot of information about signs and symptoms and treatment options and resources, and they also help with information for family and friends and for veterans. So you get to learn from different perspectives how we should approach PTSD. You can also do your own research, and you would do that from the library database on Academic OneFile. And I have a video on how to access the databases. And you can also search for these 2 specific articles in this database. So these are the only sources I want you to use. And it's to help you focus your research and get started right away and not get overwhelmed with too much information overload, because there's a lot of information on the web on PTSD. So focus your research on these kind of sources. 1 would be just fine. You could use 2. And I hope that you learn a lot about PTSD and physical wounds of war for this essay. Thank you so much for watching. And if you need help, certainly talk to me as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.